Hey cuties, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark, and we're of course going to be watching 4 disturbing cases that'll destroy your faith in humanity, if you still have any, obviously by Lazy Masquerade. It's been a while since we've done a Lazy video, right? This is obviously his newest video, uploaded a few days ago, 3 days ago, so obviously we had to hurry up and get around to it. Don't really have anything to say today. We don't have any hater comments, no radical break, of course. So yeah, I think we can just get straight into this one. Unless I end up like remembering something I want to talk about, then I'll bring it up. So we can just get into it. As it always said the best things happen in the dark. I don't remember.
We like to believe there's a baseline of human decency holding the world together, an unspoken agreement that at the very least, we don't treat other people as disposable. But every so often, you stumble upon a case that cracks that illusion clean in half. In this episode, we'll be examining a handful of such incidents, the kind that don't just leave you disturbed, but make you question what people are capable of when no one's watching. Or worse, when everyone is. But just before we get into them, I want to show you a few questionable print-offs of my own.
What?
This right here is an 11-page report that I pulled from a data broker site, and I've redacted almost every line.
Is this an ad? I was like, is he going to be talking about an ad? But I'm guessing this is just info that is... Yeah, he's using aura.com/lazy as like a sponsor today. So again, aura.com/lazy. So aura.com/lazy for that. You can see it here.
And let them start scrubbing your information today.
Abdullah's live stream. Abdullah?
In the summer of 2017, just outside Los Baños, California, 18-year-old Abdullah Sanchez was behind the wheel of a Buick, which he had no business driving.
Okay, crashing. I feel like a lot of too many live streamers do this, right? They stream in their car. Because a lot of people just stream from their phone, because they can do that. I don't know how they can do that. Maybe they just have like a really good, what is it? I don't know. Phone services? Is there phone services that are like dedicated to live streaming? Can 5G on a phone really get you a decent stream? I don't know, because I've never tried, probably never will, but it is something to see a decent bit of, especially the driving, I think, right?
She was intoxicated. She was speeding. And while balancing a phone in her hand, she was live streaming.
But not only was she playing around with her phone in the car, she was also drunk.
Sitting in the back of the vehicle were Abdullah's 14-year-old sister, Jacqueline, and Jacqueline's girlfriend, Manuela. The trio were heading from Fresno to Stockton. As the car sped along the road, Abdullah stared into the camera, laughing, singing, shouting, taking her hands off of the wheel. And predictably, while chatting with her audience, she lost control of the vehicle. The car veered off Henry Miller Road, smashed through a barbed wire fence, and rolled violently at least 2 times. As Abdullah came to her senses in the wreckage, she realized neither Jacqueline nor Manuela were still in the back. Both passengers had been ejected through the rear window of the vehicle as it flipped, and they hadn't been wearing their seatbelts. But what made this case explode across the internet wasn't just the crash, it was what came after, because the livestream didn't stop.
Hey, everybody, if I go to jail for life, you already know why. My sister is dying.
What the heck? Literally got back on live stream because it didn't stop, and there's no moderators. Like, it depends on where she was. Like, because where was she? Like, was she on Twitch? Since I feel like Twitch might have like tried to hurry up and cut the stream if they had known something was going on, but she literally picks up her phone and is like, "Hey, my sister's dying," and then shows a picture of her, like, and says, "If I go to jail or whatever, prison, this is why." Like, what? Like, I was so caught off guard by her just continuing the live stream, and then, like, I'm assuming pointing her camera right now at her sister, that I almost swore. I said, "What the?" And then I was like, "Wait, hold up," and then stopped. So I literally almost said the F word. which again, I don't really swear on the channel. It's only either like in the past, on my past videos, or every once in a while, every blue moon, right? So I literally had to like stop. Wait, hey, wait, listen to what you're saying right now. Like I almost was. I feel like I don't know if you could even hear it because I feel like I got more than just an F out. I got like an FU before I was like, wait a minute. I was just like so deers in a headlight from what I was seeing.
The last thing I wanted to happen, okay? All right? I don't care though. I'm gonna hold it down.
What?
Rest in peace, sweetie.
What?
You don't survive, baby. I'm so sorry.
Mouth literally open. Like, what am I listening to? I don't know what to say about that because that is just.
In the immediate aftermath, Obdulia continued filming.
What about the girlfriend, quote unquote girlfriend? Does she have anything to say about this attitude? She's like, oh, I flipped the card, you might die, I don't care, my bad, or my bad, I don't care though, but if you die, you know, much love. Like, what?
She approached her sister, Jacqueline, who was laying motionless on the ground with a cracked skull and exposed brain.
Oof.
The camera of her phone right.
What? Okay, well, she's dead because her brain's exposed, but just. I'm sorry, I don't know what to say about this. This is just. What's being said here is. Unreactable to? Question mark?
To her face as she lay dying, for all of her viewers to see, going so far as to show her gaping wound in close-up detail.
Why?
At last, she called for help, but didn't give the operator clear directions to their location.
I guess, like, just in shock or something. So she's just continuing the stream, talking about it, like, trying to document it. But it doesn't seem like she's trying to document it, but maybe that's what she's going to use as an excuse, as, like, proof of what had happened. I don't know.
Hello? You have an emergency? Hello? Can you come pick up my sister? Good. Wake up! Wake up! Okay, listen to me. I need to know what you see around.
Wake the F up. Wake up, B. What is wrong with this girl?
Around you so that way I can send someone out to help you. So with your... All right, go ahead. What do you see? Hello? Ma'am, did you just tell 911 about an accident? Where? What do you mean where? Where are you? I don't care where you're at. Well, then how do you expect me to find you? I don't. You're the government. You should know how to find me.
Thankfully, witnesses.
I don't know, man.
Also called for assistance and were able to direct first
Henry Miller Road in, I guess, I-165, I don't know.
responders to the crash site. By the time the police and paramedics arrived, Jacqueline was already dead.
Of course.
Manuel was taken to the hospital with severe leg injuries. Officers immediately handcuffed Obdulia, who was behaving extremely erratically, swearing and shouting, asking why.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was drunk as well. That maybe that's a factor. Because like, I completely forgot all about the fact that she was intoxicated because of just how crazy she was acting.
The responders took so long to arrive, describing her sister as an effing toe tag and announcing,
A what?
My parents are going to kill me. She aggressively refused to take a breathalyzer test, spat at responders, and kicked an EMT in the face. Ultimately, she had to be restrained. She was charged with gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, as well as child endangerment. Though only a handful of people were watching the situation unfold live on Instagram, millions witnessed the moments secondhand, and the livestream would be used as evidence in Obdulia's trial. She justified her actions by stating, I knew I had more than 5,000 followers. Livestreaming Jacqueline's body was the only way my sister would get a decent burial. I would never expose my sister like that. I anticipated the public donating money because my family isn't rich.
What? You instantaneously had this thought / foresight of, I'm live streaming, I just crashed and manslaughtered my sister. Let me make sure that I get it on camera so that people donate money to me so they have proof that she killed her. And thus, that would give them money. Like what? I mean, obviously, I don't believe that for a second. I think this is just like a hindsight comment to try to get her off the hook, but that's not going to get her off the hook. it's just an excuse for live streaming it.
Argued that Obdulia's actions didn't stem from generosity, though, but rather from main character syndrome, and the sense that views were worth more than her own sister's life.
Sure.
Indeed, in an earlier livestream filmed shortly before the crash, while both sisters were en route to Fresno to pick up Manuela, Jacqueline could be heard telling Obdulia,
You think I could hear what was said there?
however you...
Oh, whoops. Forgot about the as. Hold on. Right back.
Ultimately, Obdulia pleaded no contest to the charges. She was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but was released
6?
after serving just 26 months. To many, the young woman wasn't just a reckless driver who clearly showed little remorse. She was the embodiment of social media addiction, a person who saw everything, even her own sister's last breaths, as content. In later interviews, Obdulia herself even described live streaming as a reflex. It seems that in that terrible moment, her sisterly instincts were overpowered by a new prime directive.
What is it tattooed on her neck? Is that her sister's name?
A farm engagement. Obdulia's uncle, Jose, was heartbroken when he heard about the incident, but he wasn't surprised. As he would later say in an interview, Obdulia did a lot of bad things. Too bad. I can't even talk about it. I told my brother when she was around 12 that Obdulia was heading down a dangerous path and that they needed to do something. She's dead to me now. If she dies tomorrow, I don't care. She's a very bad person.
Oof. I don't know, is that like messed up for him to say? I mean, she did kill her sister and doesn't care that she killed her sister, but I don't know, that seems messed up too, but he lost his niece? Question mark? Because it's their uncle, right? He lost his niece to someone who doesn't care, so I guess I get it? I don't know.
Less than a month after her early release, Obdulia was again behind bars after leading police on a high-speed chase that resulted in yet another crash. While searching that...
Again? Like, she had a, I'm guessing she had a gun.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the second thing, right? Is it 3 strikes? I don't think it's exactly 3 strikes. Maybe it's you have to commit more crimes. So her first crime was manslaughter. So almost, you can almost argue it was murder, honestly. But how many times is she going to end up in jail before they just leave her there?
What Obdulia planned to do with it remains unclear. Whatever the case, by 2022, she was a free woman yet again, and made her return to social media. Either due to a lack of remorse, a lack of self-awareness, or a combination of both, she posted content of herself drinking in vehicles, showing her dream cars, and joking about her dark side.
What is this? When he says, I want to know the real you, and then it's this nonsense.
During several live streams, she reportedly made light of her sister's death. She also left posts challenging those who ran mouth about her DUI to drop a pin. It's clear that Obdulia didn't have any fears about confrontation, but unfortunately for her, it seems it wasn't.
Other people trying to troll or pretend to check me, just a quick reminder I don't care, and also keyword pretending.
Long before she antagonized the wrong person.
What?
In December 2025.
Did she get murdered? Question mark?
Obdulia Sanchez was killed in a drive-by shooting in Stockton. She was found with gunshot wounds on a residential street. Another person was also injured in the incident, but authorities have yet to release details about a suspect, a motive, or whether the incident had any connection with her past run-ins with the law. Some people online called her death karma. Others expressed condolences to her parents, who had now lost 2 of their daughters. But this was one case where nobody was quoted as saying the victim was a well-liked person with no enemies to speak of.
Damn, that's a pretty messed up one. Again, for this one, you just gotta feel sorry for the parents, right? Because you had a daughter who killed your other daughter and didn't give 2 cruds that she killed your daughter, and then ended up getting killed herself because of all of the nonsense that she was doing. And now you have no one. You have no children left, right? Assuming those are the only 2 children that they had. You can probably assume even they might just go, right? Self-check out. Because he lost both daughters. One of them turned out to be a rotten egg, if you want to call it that. And I feel like people would just, a reaction would just be like, okay, I'm checking out of this life. Lost on arrival.
Most of us have someone we love who's getting on a bit. Someone older. Someone fragile. And we'd like
I don't want to talk about it.
to think if they were ever in need of help, that strangers would treat them with the same humanity, dignity, and care that we would. But sometimes, people can be dangerously disappointing. Fermin Delgado Pinto was born in Peru in March of 1933 and spent most of his life working the land. Those who knew him described him the same way, a gentle, friendly, devoted family man. Furman loved fishing by the coast, but long walks were his favorite pastime. He'd spend hours rambling all over the place, and no matter how far he ventured, he never had any trouble finding his way home. By 2011, Furman's daughters and granddaughters had settled in Chile, and he decided to follow, moving into their home in Peñalolén. By then in his late 70s, he still insisted on living an independent life. He was getting on a bit, yes, but he was still healthy. He took no medications, showed no signs of dementia, had no cognitive impairments. He was sharp, lucid, self-sufficient, and he would remain that way, right up until the day of the incident.
The incident.
In March 2018, one of Furman's daughters, Lily, celebrated her 25th wedding anniversary. As a surprise present, her husband had secretly organized a trip back to Lima to visit family members. Furman found out about the trip and insisted on coming along. He wanted to see his relatives back in Peru again. Who knows, he thought, it might be his last opportunity. Of course, Lily's own flights were already booked by the time he found out, so Furman had to purchase his tickets separately at the last moment. He was able to book a seat on the same plane as his daughter for the outbound flight to Lima, but worryingly, would have to catch a different plane on the way back. Furman may have been capable for a now 85-year-old, but he was still backed.
85. Oof. And aging sucks, man. I'm not gonna get into the whole aging thing, but it's just like, really? It has to go this way? Can modern science freaking do something already? And make us not just rot after a certain point in time? Like, can we do something about this? Anyways, I'm guessing the flight staff or something screwed this guy over and actually end up getting him killed. I don't know. Like, what could possibly happen here?
An old man. Lily knew that solo travel could be stressful at the best of times, and she was concerned about her father's ability to navigate the airport alone and deal with all of the rigmarole that comes with international travel. But LATAM, the airline that would be flying him home, assured her that Furman would be assisted the entire way. He'd be helped off the plane after landing, placed in a wheelchair, guided through customs, to the baggage claim, and out to meet his family, who'd be waiting for him on the other side, all at no extra cost. And so, feeling reassured, Lily helped Furman book his return flight to Chile. Furman and Lily made it safely to Lima, and celebrated her wedding anniversary with their Peru-based family members as planned. After that, they enjoyed a 2-week holiday. Then, on April 2nd, they returned to the airport, ready to catch their flight home. Furman's flight was scheduled to leave 2 hours before Lily's, so he'd be stepping through the departure gates first. Lily knew that her father would be getting all the assistance he needed from the airline, but just to be safe, she also made sure that he was wearing a credential sheet with his name, address, and her phone number on it. And with that attached to his person, Furman hugged his daughter one last time and stepped through the departure gates. Back at Arturo Merino Benitez International Airport in Chile, several of Furman's other family members were waiting at arrival gate 4, ready to greet him and help him back home. His plane was scheduled to land at around 5:30 p.m, but an hour passed, and the old man still hadn't appeared. Furman didn't own a mobile phone, and so, at first, his family assumed that he was simply delayed.
Why didn't they give this man a phone? Question mark. This is 20-something, right? It's... When the story started, it was 2011, right? So we're a few years after that, I think, right? To being close to about now, so not having a phone in this day and age is pretty rough. Like, they could at least got like a track phone or something, like a burner phone for him, because I feel like that's pretty like oof to just have this 85-year-old running around with no way to contact him.
And so they waited, and waited. After a while, their impatience turned to confusion, which then turned to panic. His family approached airport staff, who were less than helpful. They wouldn't confirm whether Furman's flight had actually landed, wouldn't allow them into the baggage claim area to look for him, wouldn't entertain the possibility of making an announcement, and repeatedly told the family members to wait patiently.
Why? They must already know something bad happened, which is why they're treating them this way. Because, like, why are they being, not necessarily combative, but so uncooperative?
What else to do? They contacted Lily, who was still in Peru, waiting to board her own flight. She confirmed that Furman had caught the plane home, that it had left on time, and that he should be there. She spent the next 4 hours in the air, not knowing whether her father was lost, injured, or worse. By the time she landed in Chile, nothing had changed. Furman was still missing, and airport staff remained just as obstructive. Desperate, the family began their own search, splitting up across public areas of the terminal. One relative waited near the taxi pickup zone for so long that airport staff forcibly removed her for loitering. Eventually, the family began asking random people whether they were on Furman's flight. That's when they found a distressed old woman sitting alone in a wheelchair.
A distressed old woman, so something happens. She saw something, obviously. Again, they must already know. They must be aware of something bad happening, which is why they're being so uncooperative. Because they don't want to deal with whatever they did. Question mark, right? Like, what could be like the worst case scenario? I feel like the worst case scenario is that they kicked him off the plane mid-flight, which I don't know how you would do that without the entire plane going down, but I don't know. Like, what did they do?
She told them that she had been traveling alone from Colombia, that she too had been promised assistance, but that she had been abandoned for hours by staff members. A security guard eventually told her, bluntly, that no one was coming to help her. "Ma'am," he reportedly said, "stand up and leave, because they're going to leave you sitting here for hours. They usually do this. They leave people here and never come back." The implication was chilling. Had Thurman also been left to fend for himself? After being repeatedly pressed for details, airport staff finally admitted the truth. Thurman's flight had landed on time. They told a story about how there had been some issue with his baggage, how he had grown impatient, stood up from his wheelchair, and walked away of his own accord. It's unclear whether that was true or not, as the employee assisting Thurman has never been identified.
Yeah, you assume that's just some sort of the story they threw together to try to point blame at him.
However, CCTV footage, which was later obtained, showed Thurman wandering through the terminal alone without his luggage, pausing, turning around, scanning faces. At one point, he walked towards the taxi rank outside. There, an official driver offered him a lift, but Thurman politely turned him down. Minutes later, he could be seen approaching a man in a neon jacket, likely an airport or transit worker, who pointed him in a direction. Thurman walked off the way he pointed. That employee has never come forward or been identified, so we don't know what Thurman asked or where he was trying to go. Cameras then captured him lining up at a bus stop. After waiting for a while, he stepped out of the line and continued walking. The direction he walked led to Route 68, a major highway connecting Santiago to Valparaiso.
What? So they're saying somewhere over here he got on this road and then just never
After seeing
was seen again?
Thurman's family filed a missing persons report, one which wasn't validated by the authorities for 5 long days. During that time, Thurman's family searched for him alone. They printed flyers, knocked on doors, searched the area around the airport, checked hospitals, checked morgues, but no sign of their loved one turned up. The police showed little urgency and told Thurman's family to return only if they had proof that he was in danger. LATAM Airlines denied responsibility.
Well, I mean, I feel like you're always in danger, unfortunately. If you're like 85, you're at risk nonstop all day, every day, no matter where you're at, so I feel like it's like a dumb thing for them to say.
The airport denied responsibility.
The police.
Each claimed that their duties ended once Thurman walked off. As for his family, they refused to accept that a person could so casually disappear off the face of the earth like that. Had he fallen down a manhole? Wandered into the mountains? Been picked up by a driver with evil intentions? All the worst possibilities swirled in their minds. In the days that followed, sightings of Thurman were reported near metro stations.
Also, I think it says it's 2018, so on that little thing which you saw there. So yeah, it's weird that they didn't want to have him have a phone, or maybe they couldn't afford a track phone or something just to give him.
Sites and along Route 68. A security guard recalled an elderly man matching his description, saying that he was heading to Mapocho. Following that vague lead, his family expanded their search, and in doing so, discovered multiple other confused elderly people living rough on the streets. Unbelievably, many of them had simply been abandoned in the middle of nowhere by illegal taxi drivers. They'd been picked up at the airport, and when it became clear they didn't have enough money to cover their fare, were dumped on the side of the road. Unfortunately, such cases are far from unheard of. An elderly person gets left to fend for themselves, and, unable to get home or contact loved ones, winds up living homeless, or worse, is intercepted by a criminal gang and forced to beg to line their pockets. Thurman's family now strongly believe that the same fate befell him, that he was picked up by a dodgy taxi and was abandoned somewhere far from home, far from civilization, and that nobody helped him. He had only 9,000 pesos in his pocket at the time of his vanishing, around $15 US at the time, far from enough to cover his fare home. And terribly, Thurman was never seen or heard from again. Whether he became another disoriented homeless person or perished somewhere remote, his fate was entirely preventable had just one person done their job correctly. No staff members were ever charged with negligence in relation to Thurman's disappearance. Some probably never gave him a second thought from that day on. And if this case teaches us anything, it's that sometimes it's not people's malice we should be fearful of. It's their indifference. Thurman's family continue to cling on to the hope that he's still out there somewhere, a prospect that feels more remote with each passing day. If you live in Santiago or nearby, please keep an eye out for this man. I'd like to end this segment by shouting out Yulai Sabe. She covered this case while in contact with Thurman's family, and her coverage was a really helpful source of information. Spanish speakers, go check her channel out. Also, a shout out to Moondog151 over on Reddit, whose English language write-up of this otherwise region-locked case inspired me to look into the mystery in the first place.
It's like what, 8 years ago this possibly happened, so it's like he's 90 if he's still out there alive. Well, he's supposed to be like super healthy, so who knows if he is. He could still be alive, but yeah, like he's in his 90s still out there. I don't know. It's just an unfortunate turn of events, which of course they're not going to get in trouble. I was hoping that they would get in trouble and it's like, oh, this entire airline's going to get shut down. But nope, nobody cares. Just oof. The brown-eyed clown. Now there is a clown on the thumbnail for this video, so does this have anything to do with her, question mark? Yeah, just to go back on that last thing, like I have issue with it, or just with age in general. Like I was like getting on because my dad is 76 right now, so it's just like you see that and how like deterioration happens. It's like, can we like please just fix old age? I know that sounds crazy to say fix old age, but can we do something for old people so that they actually just can function like they did at least, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago? They don't have to function like teenagers, but can we just help them get to be functioning like 40 or 50-year-olds at the age of like 80 or 90? But I argue, I feel like my dad is like premium elderly, if that makes any sense, because I would argue, is built like a tank, so he's still fine. He can still do whatever, but I can only assume, like, another decade, or if he makes another decade even after that, like 20 years, like he's going to be unable to do anything. So I don't know. I just hope that he continues being a tank into the next decade and then the next decade. And who knows, even a decade after that, like 40 years, another 40 years on him. Since this is under the table, but allegedly, I don't know if this is conspiracy or not, allegedly the government wants to try and keep people alive until they're 120 because they want you to keep working, to keep making them money until you're 120 plus. So who knows if the government just comes out of nowhere and is like, hey, we figured out how to effectively keep you alive for another 20, 40 years. Like 40, because I'm like saying like 80. If like people are naturally dying around 80, that they're going to add like another 40 on top of that to get you in the workforce for even longer. Because if they could do that, well, then that means they could hold out on Social Security, right? To get it at 60, you can get it at 62. I don't know if they changed it to 65 now. Or they've changed it to 65 a while ago. It used to be 62, but they obviously want to keep moving it up, so they can hope that you die before they can have to give you money for Social Security. So if they're able to slowly extend the lifespan up to 120 plus, then that's longer they can wait to not give you Social Security, and longer they get to have you making more money for them via taxes, la-di-da, whatever, right? Anyways, long tangent that nobody like really wants to hear because it's depressing, right? Anyways, the brown-eyed clown.
The morning of May 26th, 1990 was a conventional one in Florida's unconventional Aero Club, an exclusive neighborhood built around a private airstrip where residents could taxi their personal aircraft straight into hangars attached to their backyards. Some residents were preparing to jet off for their long weekend, but inside one house, 40-year-old Marlene Warren was taking things slower and instead enjoying a long breakfast. Her husband Michael was out of town, but her 21-year-old son Joseph was there to keep her company, as were a few of his friends. Joe had recently broken his leg, and they'd all stopped by to help lift his spirits. The group sat around the kitchen table, chatting over coffee and eggs, when...
Why are there pills there?
The doorbell unexpectedly rang. Marlene walked to the front door, expecting to greet a delivery driver or a neighbor. When she opened it, however, she was met by something unusual. Standing on her doorstep was a clown. Aside from their practical black shoes, the figure was fully costumed. They wore bright makeup, a red nose, an orange, afro-like wig, a ridiculous multicolored costume, and bright white gloves. In one hand, the clown carried a basket of red and white carnations. In the other, 2 balloons. One of them decorated with a scene from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and the other printed with a simple message. You're the greatest. The clown handed the balloons to Marlene. For a moment, it must have seemed whimsical. Perhaps someone had sent her son a clownogram to lift his spirits.
Well, what I'm thinking is, if this, well, we already are going into this, that this is something bad. I feel like the moment they let go of the balloons, now both of their hands are empty. Or not both of their hands are empty, but one of their hands is able to do something, right? Because before, both of their hands are occupied, so they can't really put up much of a fight, right? If they try something. But now that she is holding the balloons, she's caught off guard, possibly amused. One of her hands is now occupied, and now one of his is unoccupied, so now he can grab out a weapon and do whatever that he has intended to do.
Marlene reportedly smiled. How pretty, she said.
Reportedly smiled, which means this is someone else's testimony of what had happened. So she's probably gone, right? But I'm guessing maybe her son or her son's friends saw it, or maybe they caught the clown. The clown explained.
Those were the last words to leave her lips. In that moment,
What did she say?
"How pretty," she said.
Hmm.
Those were the last words to leave her lips. In that moment, the clown produced a gun,
Yep.
raised it, and shot Marlene in the mouth at point-blank range. The clown then turned and walked calmly to a white Chrysler LeBaron convertible parked just outside the house. Joe, who had witnessed the incident unfold from a window in the living room, rushed to his mother's side. Neither he nor any of his 3 friends managed to catch the killer's license plate. Joe tried to pursue the vehicle, but couldn't catch up in time. Marlene was
I guess as a why they use, because this feels like a hit, right? Just a clown showing up, which is a disguise, and then shooting someone. Which again, that's what I was saying. Like the balloons are a distraction, and now they are able to use their hand to get a gun and then shoot.
rushed to hospital, but her injuries were catastrophic. 2 days later, life support was withdrawn. Her son Joseph sat by her bed, begging her to stay with him, promising her that justice would come. And then she quietly slipped away. In an effort to help find her killer, Joseph gave a description of the clown to the police, but since the whole incident unfolded within less than a minute, he could only give vague details. They stood around 6.
Oh, I was like, what is that sound in the background? There's like a alerts sound, dial tone in the background.
Got one, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. They walked with the bravado of a man, but had the slender figure of a woman, so he couldn't even be sure about their sex. But Joe told investigators there was one thing that was burned into his mind.
Brown eyes.
And driving away, the clown briefly turned and stared at him. And behind all of the props and makeup were a pair of dark brown, soulless eyes.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
That was the one thing he was certain of. The white LeBaron was later found abandoned roughly 8 miles from the Warren home in a Winn-Dixie parking lot. The cops traced it back to a car rental company called Payless, who had reported it stolen shortly before Marlene's murder. And so, detectives examined the inside of the vehicle. On the driver's headrest, they recovered orange synthetic fibers consistent with a clown wig, along with strands of dark brown hair.
Okay, brown hair as well, not just that, but that could also be just artificial hair too, but I'm guessing it's a real hair. It's a rental car though, right? So it could be someone else's hair. Question mark, and not actually the clown's hair. Can we even know like what the clown's skin tone was? 'Cause I'm guessing no, because they probably had like a full body of white, like pure white makeup on. Like were they a white guy or what?
They traced the balloons and flowers to a local supermarket, and employees remembered who had bought them. A woman with chocolate-coloured hair and brown eyes who had paid in cash. A nearby costume
A woman? Because he said the slender figure of a woman, but with the bravado of a man.
shop also reported that a woman with dark brown hair and dark eyes had purchased a clown outfit just days earlier. As the physical evidence mounted, detectives turned their attention inward, towards Marlene's husband and Joe's stepdad, Michael Warren. Michael ran a used car and rental business called the Bargain Auto Rentals, but much of the couple's property, valued in excess of $1 million, was actually held in Marlene's name. If she were to die first, he would inherit everything. Michael certainly had plenty of motivation to kill his wife, that's for sure, and there
Oh, here we go again with this smoking the dollar. I was not even assuming it was like husband-related insurance fraud nonsense, but I'm guessing that's always the thing, right? If someone dies, you automatically have to check the family to see if the family did it, because it most likely was the family every time.
their relationship must have been fraught, as Marlene herself had confided in her children. If anything happens to me, Mike did it.
What?
Joe believed
She actually said that?
that Michael was incapable of violence, to which Marlene replied, "Don't put it past him." Well, the police certainly weren't putting it past him. A con man at heart, Michael regularly took out ads in local papers, with his company name in quotations at the top, and Pay Less in big bold letters beneath it. As a result, Payless customers regularly assumed that the two businesses were one and the same, and would end up returning their rental cars to Michael, who would then keep them and rent or sell them. Seeing how the killer clown had driven a stolen Payless vehicle, it stood to reason that Mr. Warren was involved. Thing is, Michael had an alibi. At the time of the shooting, he was traveling toward Miami with friends who could all vouch for him.
Well, yeah, of course, but I mean, he had a woman do it, so...
Though he would later be convicted of racketeering, grand theft, and odometer tampering connected to his business dealings, the authorities couldn't place him at the scene of the crime that morning. But not being there doesn't mean he wasn't involved. Just a year before the incident, he had asked a lawyer, quote, if a husband were to kill his wife, what would happen to her estate?
Why would he do that? Are you stupid?
Assuming it to be nothing more than a hypothetical question, the lawyer replied, if he's convicted of murdering his wife, he wouldn't inherit, but if he were convicted of a lower charge, he would. Not only that, but if he had a friend do it, and they couldn't tie him as an accessory, he'd get away scot-free.
Why would the lawyer just say that? I know the lawyers are here to get people off of crimes, even if they did do them, but like, come on, dude.
And so, attention shifted to someone else. One of Michael Warren's employees, a then 27-year-old woman named Sheila Keene. She was described as a bubbly and gutsy woman who had been repossessing cars for his business for the past 5 months or so. She was fairly tall, slender and pleasant looking, but her most defining features were undeniably her dark brown eyes. Sheila didn't have any personal connection to Marlene. There's no indication that they had met or even spoken. But unbeknownst to Marlene, the two of them were actually embroiled in a romantic rivalry. According to reports, Michael and Sheila were seeing each other behind Marlene's back.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that's what they're trying to get at, that this guy was having an affair. He had a Sancho or something on the side, and he had her do it for him.
When questioned by investigators following the murder, Sheila denied the affair, but 2 of her neighbors said that they saw her and Michael together so frequently that they assumed the two were married.
Why is she happy being arrested? Like, she's smiling to the right, and she's a big smile up front. She must be crazy, right? Not only is this 84? Is that what this means at the end? The year? 1984, I'm guessing. Not only should she kill someone, she's happy about it. Like, she has to be crazy.
Despite playing dumb, in 2002, 12 years after Marlene's death, Sheila did tie the knot with Michael and became Mrs. Keene Warren. Whether she was involved or not, many found it suspicious that Michael married the prime suspect in his first wife's murder.
Is it them when they're old?
After the wedding, Sheila underwent something of a metamorphosis. She dyed her hair blonde and began introducing herself as Debbie, as if she were trying to adopt a new identity. She and Michael opened a burger restaurant called the Purple Cow, where employees described Mrs. Keene Warren as an aggressive and mean boss. They had all heard the rumors, of course, that she had killed her husband's former wife, but all of them thought it was nothing more than a weird joke. A joke which Sheila, or Debbie as they knew her, played into. She enjoyed it so much, in fact, that one Halloween, she turned up to work dressed as a clown, shown here in this photo. Her employees noted it was one of the few times they had seen her genuinely smile. But could the new Mrs. Keene Warren have wanted to marry Marlene's husband so much that she would kill for the privilege, even if that meant killing an otherwise innocent stranger? Well, if the clown shoe fits. Fibers consistent with those found in the getaway car were later recovered in Sheila's home. Hair samples recovered from that vehicle were also microscopically consistent with hers. But the police...
What, did we not have this evidence? This ability to analyze evidence until, like, statute, oh my god, what can I say? Statute of limitations were over? Because why didn't we do this from the get-go? You already had the hair day one. Why didn't you take samples of her hair back in the day and then compare them to? Again, unless you couldn't do that in 84, question mark.
Police were certain that they had found the gunwoman. In the early 1990s, their case against Sheila rested largely on circumstantial evidence. Unfortunately, DNA technology was nowhere near as advanced as it is today.
Okay, so yeah, didn't have the technology yet.
That, paired with other difficulties, such as Sheila not being 6'1" as Joe had described, and the clown outfit never being recovered, meant that the case stalled.
But they're supposed to be 6'1"? She's wearing, I guess she's wearing regular shoes, so, or practical shoes, but who knows if they didn't have lifts in them, though.
For years, the story of a clown gunning down a woman on her porch spread. Then, before the internet took off, many assumed it to be nothing more than urban legend, one which played on people's coulrophobia. But in reality, it was one of Florida's most unsettling unsolved crimes.
I'm guessing that's what you call fear of clowns, what you just said, the phobia or whatever, coulrophobia. I don't know what exactly he said, but...
And every day that passed without any new developments was a day that Marlene's son, Joe...
Yeah, I was going to say, is his son now?
He began drinking and using substances to cope with his grief. Thankfully, Joe would eventually face down his demons and clean...
Okay, she died in 1990, not in 84. I guess, I don't know her name is, Shirley. We're just going to call her Shirley. Shirley had just been getting a mugshot for something in 84, I'm guessing. But she did it in the 90s.
Clean himself up, and, decades after the loss of his mother, was offered a glimmer of hope that the killer clown would be unmasked.
A glimmer?
The Palm Beach County Cold Case Unit reopened the investigation into Marlene's slaying. Advances in forensic science allowed evidence once considered inconclusive to be re-examined. In time, they were able to prove that the hairs found in the abandoned LeBaron did in fact belong to Sheila Keene Warren. 3 years later, in September 2017, Sheila was arrested in Virginia and extradited to Florida, where she was charged with first-degree murder. In April 2023, she pleaded guilty to second-degree murder as part of a plea agreement after prosecutors withdrew the pursuit of the death penalty. She was sentenced.
Okay, so she admitted to it, so she did do it, question mark.
12 years in prison. However, in November 2024, she walked free after serving just 18 months, having received credit for time spent in custody and for good behavior.
18 months? So was it a year and a half? They really walked up to someone in their house, point blank, shot them, killed them, has been joking about it for years, and getting away with it. Finally gets caught, and only serves a year and a half for good behavior.
Why Sheila Keene Warren decided to disguise herself as Bozo that fateful morning has never been answered. but it may have had something to do with Marlene's open fascination with circus clowns. Growing up, Marlene had painted numerous clown portraits. As an adult, she decorated her home with clown figures and statuettes. She was seemingly obsessed with them, symbolically and aesthetically. With that in mind, Sheila may have chosen her costume as a way to disarm Marlene, to bring down her guard. Or, more maliciously, it may have just been her way of humiliating her, a way for her to punish her love rival, ensuring that she was killed by something that brought her joy. As for Michael Warren, he was never charged in connection with his ex-wife's murder, as it was never proved conclusively that he and Sheila planned it together. But one has to wonder how Sheila knew about Marlene's love of clowns. Given that she and Marlene had apparently never met, someone must have given her the idea. Despite Marlene's killer being formally identified, to me, this case still feels far from resolved.
I don't know, resolved. I feel like it was just like no justice, right? She literally just killed someone, joked about it for decades, and then finally gets caught, gets out in a year and something, and gets to live her life, continue living her life. Like the son must be like upset, right? It's like, oh, we finally figured out who it is, and she only serves a year and a half for murder. Like cold blood murder. And for what? Because you wanted her husband? Like, I guess more, we do need more information, so it does feel unresolved, right? Because someone just got to serve like a year and a half, and that's it. And the husband got away with it if he did also want his Sancha to do it for him. But they just got away with murder, it feels like. Because a year and a half is, you might as well have gotten away with murder. Last will and testament.
On the afternoon of May 31st, 1985, 17-year-old Sharon Faye Smith was driving home from a pool party in Lexington County, South Carolina. The soon-to-be graduate was known to friends and family simply as Shari. According to them, she was quiet, thoughtful, and dependable.
I mean, this looks like the 80s. I'm guessing this is in the 80s.
The kind of teenager who followed routines and rarely drew attention to herself. When she pulled into the long driveway of her family's home on Lake Murray Boulevard at 3:38 p.m., nothing seemed out of place. Her father, Bob, looked out of the window and saw Sharon parked up beside the mailbox at the end of the drive. Turning away, he expected her to walk through the door any second. A few minutes passed, and confused as to why Sharon hadn't come inside, Bob walked out to the driveway. And though his daughter's car was still there, with its driver's side door open and its engine running, Sharon herself was nowhere to be seen. Letters were scattered around the ground surrounding the mailbox. Still inside the car were all of Sharon's personal belongings, including her...
I'm guessing this is like actual footage from there. From this time period. It might be the 70s, actually.
Surrounding the mailbox. Still inside the car were all of Sharon's personal belongings, including her diabetes medicine, which she needed to take throughout the day. She would never willingly walk off without that medication. With no sign of their daughter anywhere, and no way to contact her, Bob and his wife Hilda contacted the police and reported Shari missing. 2 days later, the phone rang. The male voice on the other end of the line was calm, measured, but clearly distorted. Calling from a payphone, the figure told Shari's family that the teenager had been kidnapped, but that she was still alive and watching TV.
I mean, is she still alive? I mean, you assume that she's already dead, right? If she needs insulin, I'm assuming. She'll have her insulin. There's no way she's still alive, right?
He also told them to expect a letter in the mail. And then he hung up. That letter, which was intercepted early by the Lexington County Sheriff's Department, didn't contain any ransom demands or any taunting message from Sharon's captor. It hadn't even been written by him at all. It had been written by Sharon herself, and chillingly, it was titled Last Will and Testament. The letter was examined by professionals, who confirmed that it had been written in Sharon's handwriting. Her captor, now presumed killer, had forced her to write it, but the words were from the heart, and clearly Sharon's own. It contained expressions of love, final wishes, and a request for a closed casket funeral.
Do you believe me now?
Well, I'm not really sure I believe you because I haven't had any word from Sherry, and I need to know that Sherry is well.
You'll know in 2 or 3 days.
Why 2 or 3 days?
Call the search office.
Over the next several days, the calls continued. Sometimes the man would talk for only a few moments, sometimes for longer. He usually spoke in the present tense, hinting that Shari may still be alive. During one of...
I assume that he just got her to write that letter day one, and then it killed her, and then started calling.
those phone calls, the man read from Sharon's will. In another, he worryingly stated that Sharon was part of him.
3:10 a.m.
What, did he eat her?
Saturday, the 1st of June. She handwrote what you received. 4:58 a.m. Saturday, the 1st of June.
Okay, Saturday the 1st of June, 4:58 a.m.
Became one soul.
Became one soul. What does that mean?
No questions now. Please, till sure miss. Search no more. Blessings are near.
Do not kill my daughter, please. I mean, please.
Love and miss y'all. Get good rest tonight. Goodbye.
Wait a minute.
He's gone, Mom.
Whoever the sicker was, he clearly took pleasure in tormenting his victim's family and feeding off their anguish, while also pretending, or perhaps genuinely believing, that he had godlike powers. And then, 6 days after taking Sharon, once he'd had his fun, he called yet again and gave some very specific directions.
Hello?
Listen carefully. Take Highway 378 west to traffic circle. Take Prosperity exit. Go 1.5 miles. Turn right at sign. Moose Lodge number 103. Go 1/4 mile. Turn left at White Frame Building. Go to backyard. 6 feet beyond. We're waiting. God shows up.
I doubt they were like ready to write that down. They were just like, oh yeah, let's just give hyper specific directions, like a paragraph, and be like, yep, bye. Hope you listened to all that.
Those directions led to Sharon Smith's lifeless body, dumped in a wooded area near Saluda County. Her life had been ended approximately 12 hours after she had been taken. An exact...
Okay, like literally, like he captured her, made her write the letter, and then killed her.
COD couldn't be determined. Knowing how badly her killer craved attention, investigators made a tactical decision. They staged a public memorial for Shari, where mourners could leave gifts like flowers, letters, and stuffed toys, hoping that the killer wouldn't be able to resist claiming a memento after all of the other guests had departed. But
hoping that he would.
Frustratingly, he didn't take the bait. Even after the service, he denied Sharon's family the ability to grieve in peace. For weeks after her death, the man who killed her tormented them over the phone. He targeted her sister, Dawn in particular, relaying...
I'm guessing they don't have like tapping abilities back then. I'm thinking this is the 70s. I don't know if that headstone said anything. 85. Okay, it's 85 actually. I still figured it was 70s because it looked more 70s. The black and white photos as well.
He targeted her sister, Dawn in particular, relaying details about how Shari had died. He explained how he had let her choose her own manner of demise, how she had chosen suffocation, how he had wrapped duct tape all the way around her head so she couldn't breathe. He also began hinting that Dawn would be his next victim. His calls were relentless, bordering on obsessive. Given the physical similarities between the two sisters, many believed that the killer actually mistook Shari for Dawn, that she had been the intended target all along. Unblustered, Dawn would always accept the killer's calls and keep him on the line, hoping that he'd slip up and reveal something that would shed light on his identity. And slip up he did. Not only did he stop disguising his voice, but during one particularly significant call, he broached the subject of Deborah May Helmick.
Have you heard about Deborah May Hamrick, the 10-year-old? H-E-L-M-I-C-K?
Richland County?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, listen carefully. Go 1 north, 1 west.
On June 14th, 1985, just 2 weeks after Sharon went missing, 9-year-old Deborah was kidnapped in nearby Richmond County while playing outside. A man in a silver car accelerated towards her, forced her inside his vehicle, and sped away with her in a matter of seconds, all while a desperate neighbor tried to stop him from getting away. 8 days after she was taken, the mystery caller contacted the Smith family again and told them where to find the child's body, confirming that the same man was responsible for both slayings. But though he undeniably made slip-ups while chatting with Dawn and the rest of the Smith family, what finally broke this case was a simple piece of paper, one we've already covered. Sharon's last...
Oh, that. I was like, what do you mean the one we already covered? Do you mean this?
Will and testament. A forensic examiner was brought in to analyze the document. Using an electrostatic detection device, a tool designed to reveal impressions left behind when writing atop other sheets, they began scanning the surface of the paper, and pressed faintly into the sheet were names and phone numbers, as if someone had written a list of contacts using the same pad of paper.
Yeah, okay, so this was a piece of paper that was part of a journal or like a pad, like there's like a notepad, so he didn't just like tear off two pieces of paper or a single piece, I don't know if this is front and back, and gave it to her. Like he had her use the journal that he had already been using from the get-go.
One number in particular stood out. It was almost complete, missing just a single digit. Detectives worked through all of the possible variations one by one, until finally, someone answered. On the line was a young man. When asked whether he had any connection to South Carolina, he gave them the names of Ellis and Sharon Shepard, a couple who just so happened to live 15 miles from the Smith family home. When questioned, the Shepards explained that they'd been away on holiday at the time of Shari's disappearance, but when detectives played them the undistorted voice from the phone calls, their reaction was immediate. Both identified the voice as belonging to the man who had been house-sitting for them while they were away. Larry Gene Bell, a 35-year-old local man with a history of offences, including indecent exposure and harassment. According to the Shepards, when they returned from their holiday, Bell seemed unusually agitated, fixated on Shari's disappearance, and eager...
Wait, why is he frustrated? Like you got, not necessarily got away with it, but like you got the crime committed, so like what would he be upset about? Right, I'm guessing maybe we'll go into that, but because this guy's just like a psychopath, right? Just picking people off and then getting rid of them? Question mark.
Eager to talk about little else. Ellis Shepard also confirmed that the list of phone numbers uncovered by forensic examiners had been left for Bell in case of emergencies. With that, everything shifted. Phone records confirmed that several of the calls made to the Smith family after Shari's disappearance had originated from the Shepards' home. Inside the residence, police recovered several items of concern, including strands of blonde hair.
Just think he brought her there and got rid of her there. I feel like the couple would just move, right? Like potentially multiple people were murdered in your house, unfortunately. Like there's no way you could stay there after knowing that some random person murdered people in your house, right?
Investigators began to piece together a disturbing possibility that Bell had used the Shepherd's home as a torture ground,
Yep.
a place he believed would never be examined. On June 27th, 1985, 28 days after Sherry Smith vanished from her driveway, Larry Gene Bell was arrested. His trial began in February 1986.
I need to say how long?
Would never be examined. On June 27th, 1985, 28 days after Sherry Smith vanished from her driveway,
Only not even a month.
Larry Gene Bell was arrested.
They got him.
His trial began in February 1986. Throughout, Bell shouted bizarre statements, made cryptic remarks, and appeared determined to convince the jury that he was unhinged. But the act failed.
What, trying to plead insanity? Like, get out of here.
After less than an hour of deliberation, the jury found him guilty of the kidnapping and first-degree murder of Sharon Smith. A year later, he was convicted yet again, this time for the slaying of Deborah May Helmick. On October 4th, 1996, after 10 years on death row,
The electric chair.
was sent to the electric chair. He offered no final words. In February 2025, Bell was formally identified as the killer of a 26-year-old woman named Sandy Elaine Cornett, who vanished in 1984. He also remains the prime suspect in the disappearance of at least one other woman, Denise Newsom Porch. Neither of their bodies have ever been found.
That is it. That. I mean, at least he got the electric chair, right? So someone getting punished for what they did, but he still got 4 people, unfortunately. This one, though, the brown-eyed clown is this the most messed up one? The old man going missing, and then this stupid girl at the beginning. But yeah, the brown-eyed clown. Again, yeah, there's no justice here. This is might as well be unsolved. Again, because the woman just got away with it. She might as well have got away with it, and the husband especially got away with it. But the woman who did it got away with it because a year and a half in jail is nothing for, intentional, premeditated murder of someone, right? Like, oh yeah, you can have just a year and a half because you're behaving well. Like, what? Really? You just murder someone right in front of their son and their son's friends? And it's like, oh yeah, 20 years later, we'll give you a year and a half. Like, what? So yeah, that one's pretty messed up. And this one just, unfortunately, he got too many victims, but at least, again, he got electrocuted. Question mark. Anyway, again, with the old man, hopefully, he is just out there somewhere at 90 something, still alive, so they can at least see him once again. And the first one is just like unfortunate that this happened. Again, the parents are probably pretty screwed. I don't know if the parents are going to stay in this existence for long, having one daughter taken by the other, and then the daughter being taken out because of her behavior. So now no longer having any children. Question mark. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Stay cuties. Thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers and think about becoming a member. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We're going watch time and subscribers. And don't forget we have a throne now as well. And shout out to the members. EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and alexgkiller 880. Stay cuties. Thanks for watching. Tune to the next episode. Like, subscribe, hype, and comment. Another do. See ya.